Hi dolls, and welcome back to another episode. Today's episode is actually a little extra special because we're finally venturing on into a new decade. If you've been on my channel for a little longer, you know that I love the 60s, but I also do love the 70s. And so today, for the first episode, I thought let's start with a general explaining 1970s fashion. Don't get me wrong, I will still do the explaining 1960s fashion videos, but I feel like with opening up a new decade, this just gives me a lot more chances to explain a lot more different fashion styles. So after this video, I will go back and forth between the 60s and 70s, so just leave a comment down below telling me which of the 60s and 70s subcultures and styles you would like me to talk about. So let's get into it. Let's get into my second favorite decade, the 1970s. If you are all about bold fashion, rebellious looks, and dancing till the sun comes up, this one's for you. The 70s weren't just about disco balls and bell bottoms. They were a time when fashion meant freedom and self-expression. So let's dive in. But before we talk about the 70s, let's talk quickly about the decades leading up to it and what fashion looked like back then. Fashion in the decades before the 1970s was all about breaking away from the past. In the 50s, styles were structured and conservative. Think fitted dresses for women and classic suits for men. The 1960s truly flipped the script with mod culture, bold prints, and the miniskirt. The counterculture scene was embracing bohemian, free-flowing silhouettes. And by the late 1960s, fashion was already pushing boundaries with experimental looks like bell-bottoms, fringe, and bright colors, setting the stage for the 1970s explosion. When the 70s rolled in, trends like disco, glam, and boho styles took center stage, blending self-expression with a carefree attitude. Fashion in the 1970s was all about expressing individuality and breaking conventions. Vogue famously declared, in quotes, "There are no rules in the fashion game now," reflecting the era's departure from traditional styles due to a surge in affordable, synthetic clothing. The decade saw a mix of miniskirts, bell-bottoms popularized by the hippie movement, and the glam rock and disco scene that introduced platform shoes, vibrant colors, and shimmering fabrics. With advancements in production technology, the 1970s saw a shift towards mass production and uniformity, but personal style remained at the forefront. The era's signature look was tight on the top and loose on the bottom, casual chic characterized by sweaters, t-shirts, jeans, and sneakers, while iconic designer Diane von Furstenberg introduced the influential wrap dress, symbolizing women's liberation. Prominent designers like Yves Saint Laurent and Halston adapted their style to reflect the growing women's rights movement and youth counterculture. Top models of the decades included Lauren Hutton, Margot Hemingway, and Iman, who embodied the era's diverse fashion trends. Early in the decade, the hippie aesthetic persisted with ethnic prints, tie-dye shirts, and military surplus clothing, complemented by natural accessories and handcrafted jewelry. By contrast, many women opted for more glamorous attire inspired by 1940s cinema, or a mix of contemporary and vintage pieces. The 1970s also embraced a range of trends: fitted blazers, mini and maxi skirts, hot pants paired with tight tees, and flared pants. Pastel shades gave way to bolder colors like rust and tangerine. Sweaters were a major trend, appearing in various styles and lengths, often trimmed with faux fur. Platform shoes, including clogs and sandals, were popular, as were boots in diverse styles from go-go to granny boots. By 1974, t-shirts had evolved from being merely underwear to a fashion staple, featuring elaborate designs like slogans and sports team logos. The early 1970s loose, flowy shirts gave way to more fitted tops, signaling a shift in style. As the hippie look faded by the mid-1970s, casual fashion remained prevalent, with women favoring sweaters, t-shirts, cardigans, and lots of denim. Denim continued to dominate, particularly in flared jeans and below-the-knee skirts. The cigarette leg jean, introduced in 1974, became a defining trend towards the decade's end. Around 1976, a Parisian peasant-inspired look emerged, including capes and billowy shirts. Accessories took a more minimalist turn, with a preference for simple gold neck chains and white puka shell necklaces. Footwear ranged from Mary Janes and knee-high boots to platform shoes and Birkenstocks. Despite the minimalism, mood rings became a popular fad. Activewear gained prominence starting in 1975, with jumpsuits, tracksuits, and sporty styles like crop tops and hip huggers becoming fashionable. Sneakers and tennis headbands were sought-after accessories of the time. As women increasingly entered the workforce, tailored styles became more common. Business suits, fitted blouses, and midi skirts suited the dress for success ethos. Semi-formal wear became more structured, featuring layered outfits, suede coats, and tailored dresses in pastel or Asian-inspired patterns. High heels, turbans, and larger shoulder bags complemented these looks, while boots, including wedge and cowboy styles, remained popular. The disco era, which lasted from the mid to the late 1970s, brought its own fashion trends, such as the jersey wrap dress, tube tops, sequined halter necks, and form-fitting pants. Disco fashion, inspired by the early 1960s, featured clothes designed to shine on the dance floor, with shoes often equipped with thick heels. The big look or soft look emerged as a major fashion trend from 1973 to 1978. This style embraced voluminous, unconstructed garments made from natural, lightweight fabrics. Key elements included oversized shapes, layering, and minimal accessories like hemcord necklaces and tasseled belts. Despite criticism of its impracticality and shapelessness, the big look's comfort and rejection of traditional femininity reflected the feminist movements and influenced fashion for years to come. In 1977, the influence of the big look, which had dominated high fashion since 1974, began to permeate mass-market fashion. This shift led to a more baggy aesthetic, sparking controversy. Women with trim figures felt frustrated by the loss of their opportunity to highlight their shape, while others found the loose clothing unflattering. In response, there was a trend toward showing more skin. Shirts were worn unbuttoned, sleeves were rolled up, and tops became strapless, transparent, or lacy. Shiny satin and gold fabrics emerged to compensate for the lack of tighter clothing. By this time, pants were less flared, often with only a slight flare or no flare at all. Late 1970s women's fashion featured a mix of cowl neck shirts, pantsuits, leisure suits, tracksuits, sundresses paired with tight t-shirts, strapless tops, low-cut shirts, cardigans, loose satin pants, designer jeans, culottes, Daisy Dukes, and tennis shorts. These trends continued into the 1980s. Accessories including scarves, gold jewelry, flowers, ankle boots, 1940s-style hats, skinny and white belts, boas, braceleted gloves, spike-heeled sandals, mules, ankle-strapped shoes, waist cinchers, and obi wraps. Earthy tones like browns, light blues, tans, grays, whites, and blacks became prevalent. By the late 1970s, the craze for boots had waned, though they remained popular, especially in the winter. Boots became less extravagant and were typically black, brown, or burgundy, made from leather, suede, urethane, or rubber. They featured rounded toes, side zippers, and modest heels ranging from usually 2 to 4 inches, with some being even fully flat. Wedge heels, ankle boots, and knee-high boots with thick kitten heels continued to be worn. The one-piece swimsuit, popularized in 1977 by American actress Farrah Fawcett, who truly is probably going to come up a lot in this episode because she was the queen of 1970s fashion, became a key trend. As the mela, this swimsuit featured a tight fit with a deep neckline and high-cut legs, appealing to young women and girls, although it did not entirely replace the bikini. By the late 1970s, pantsuits gained acceptance as business wear for executive women, partly due to Yves Saint Laurent's Le Smoking Tuxedo. This style was seen as a political statement, symbolizing a woman's alignment with feminist politics and challenging traditional gender norms in professional attire. The pantsuit, with its tailored jacket and versatile design, became a powerful symbol of women's growing presence in the workforce. Movies like Annie Hall further challenged gender norms by featuring women in men's clothing, influencing fashion with its mix of masculine and feminine elements. shirts. Skirts, when worn, were typically knee-length, with subtle slits, and women like Margot Kidder in Superman experimented with accessories like hats, high heels, ruffles, and large jewelry to maintain a confident feminine look. So let's talk about men's fashion of the decade. In the early 1970s, as young men in the UK and America began to enjoy well-paying jobs and booming businesses, they began to change conventional dress standards. This period, known as the Peacock Revolution, saw men adopting vibrant and experimental styles. Satin shirts in black and gray, often adorned with lace ruffles and cuffs, and necklines became popular. The era was characterized by a flamboyant and colorful approach to menswear, leading the term dandies, dudes, and peacocks to describe trendsetters. Accessories such as color-matching nylon, zippers, and bright braided belts complemented the peacock style. Suits in bright colors and unconventional styles like shawl collars, peak lapels, and double-breasted designs made from corduroy, paisley brocade, wool blends, and crushed velvet were fashionable, leading to a 4.4% rise in suit sales, with designers like Lanvin, Yves Saint Laurent, and Pierre Cardin gaining popularity among young men. The early 1970s also saw a return to simpler designs due to a shortage in raw materials and fabrics, including synthetics like vinyl and nylon. Men's fashion continued the late 1960s hippie trend, with bell-bottom jeans, tie-dye shirts, and military surplus clothing. Other popular items included tweed sport jackets, chinos, chunky sweaters, and belted cardigans. Homemade accessories made from natural materials like wool, hemp, flowers, leather, and shell were popular, along with unisex hippie accessories such as headbands, floppy hats, and flowing scarves. Footwear ranged from flip-flops and Oxfords to Birkenstocks, platform shoes, earth shoes, and cowboy boots. By 1973, androgynous glam rock had become mainstream among young British people of both sexes. This included embroidered western shirts, velvet sports coats, and frilly shirts. Synthetic fabrics like satin, white kipper ties, leather jackets, and platform shoes. Unisex outfits with minimal differences between men and women's clothing became popular, with colors like cream, burgundy, brown, and orange being all the rage. The disco style from 1977 to 1979 influenced menswear greatly, leading to the popularity of three-piece suits in colors like powder blue, beige, and shiny silver sharkskin, characterized by wide lapels, flared trousers, and high-rise waistcoats. Aviators, sunglasses, white neckties, and long pointed shirt collars were also popular and seen a lot. There are so many different sides and styles of 1970s fashion, which is why I'm so truly excited to open up the new decade of this series. So I don't want to get into too much detail right now, but let's talk about some of the most popular pieces of the decade, starting with the bell-bottoms. These pants transcended mere fashion trends. They were a bold statement and seen on absolutely everyone. The wider the flare, the more pronounced the effect. Whether worn to make an entrance on the boulevard or dancing beneath the lights of a chic nightclub, bell-bottoms added an unmistakable flair. Paired with either a fitted tee or an elegant blouse, they created a look that was both classic and effortlessly stylish. They were seen in all colors, different materials. Corduroy was really popular, but so was denim. And in the 1970s, you truly couldn't escape the bell-bottoms. Another huge trend were platform shoes. They were seen a lot in the disco scene, but they also paired greatly with the flares, elevating in height and always adding an extra touch of something special to every look. However, the 70s weren't solely defined by disco and tight looks. The era also witnessed the emerge of bohemian fashion, something that I feel like now a lot of people think about when they think about especially the early 1970s. Characterized by flowing dresses, fringed jackets, and peasant blouses, this style celebrated a free-spirit, earthy approach driven by a quest for self-expression and a departure from conventional norms. The elegance of boho chic lies in its relaxed yet profoundly personal approach to fashion. I couldn't complete this video without talking about one of my personal favorites, the 1970s glam rock. Epitomized by a daring embrace of glitter, sequins, and metallics, icons such as David Bowie illustrated that fashion, much like art, defined boundaries. With bold colors and dramatic makeup, this was a period when your attire was meant to dazzle as much as you did. Accessories played a pivotal role in 1970s fashion. Oversized sunglasses, chunky jewelry, and scarves. The 1970s was a celebration of layering styles. Dressing was not merely about selecting an outfit. It was about curating a look with meticulous attention to detail and a willingness to make a statement. The 1970s were a golden era for fashion designers and boutiques that pushed boundaries and captured the spirit of the time. Halston was a major player, known for his minimalistic yet glamorous designs. His flowing dresses, one-shoulder gowns, and ultra-luxurious fabrics became disco staples. In London, Biba was a legendary boutique that defined the 1970s look with its mix of Art Deco, Boho, and glam rock styles. Founded by Barbara Hulanicki, Biba attracted fashion-forward crowds. With its dramatic silhouettes, crushed velvet fabrics, and dark, moody color palette. The 1970s hair and makeup were all about self-expression and embracing natural beauty, but with flair. Hair was big, think voluminous curls, feathered layers, and bouncy blowouts. Farrah Fawcett's iconic feathered hairstyle was huge, with people trying to replicate the soft, wind-blown look. Meanwhile, the boho crowd also loved long, natural locks, often paired with the middle parts or braids for a more earthy appeal. Afros were also a powerful symbol of pride and style in the Black community, celebrating natural textures. Makeup varied from a barely there sun-kissed glow to full-on disco glam. Natural makeup emphasized on bronzed skin, rosy cheeks, and glossy lips for a healthy, fresh-faced look. But when it came to the disco scene, bold was the way to go. Vivid eyeshadows in blues, purples, and metallics, paired with dramatic eyeliner and thick lashes. The key to 70s makeup? Anything goes. So whether you went for a glam rock, an earthy, a more 1970s bohemian-inspired look, as long as you felt good about it, you could do whatever you wanted. Finally, let's talk about my favorite aspect of fashion, the connection between fashion and music. From disco beats to rock anthem, what you wore in the 1970s wasn't just an outfit. It was a whole look, and it placed you within a certain subculture. People dressed to match the energy of their music, whether that meant going full-on glitter for a night out of roller skating or rocking a more laid-back boho look and band shirts and attending concerts. I couldn't conclude this video without talking about one of my personal favorite style icons of the 1970s, Miss Stevie Nicks. Stevie was a total style icon of the 1970s, known for her ethereal, witchy boho vibe that perfectly captured the spirit of the decade. As Fleetwood Mac's lead singer, her music was legendary, but her fashion sense was just as influential. Stevie's signature look, flowing chiffon dresses, velvet capes, wide-brimmed hats, platform boots, and layers of scarves embodied the free-spirit mystical energy that defined 1970s fashion. What made her so iconic was how she blended bohemian chic with a touch of rock star glam. Her outfits were both feminine and edgy, making her stand out in a sea of trends. Stevie didn't just follow the fashion of the time, she created her own style, one that continues to influence modern boho and rock fashion to this day. So that's it for today's video. That is it for my entrance to 1970s fashion. My entrance into a decade that truly didn't hold back. Whether you're into the boldness of glam rock or the freedom of boho chic, or maybe you like the disco diva energy, the 70s left a lasting impact on fashion that lasts up until this day. So tell me, which 1970s style would you like to rock right now? And also, which 1970s style would you like me to make a separate video on? Just like with the explaining 1960s fashion videos, this is a gateway, this is kind of an introduction. There will be videos on Biba, gunny sacks, a lot of different styles. I want to make a video on glam rock, definitely a video on Stevie Nicks and that kind of style. Maybe I want to do a video on different collars, because collars like this, the funkier, the bigger, the bolder, the better, were truly popular in the 70s. So I'm just gonna see where this decade is gonna bring us, but I'm truly excited to have you with me on this journey. As always, I have a Pinterest board linked right down in the description box where you can find all the styles that I talked about, all the pictures that you saw me use in this video. They're all down there in case you want to pin something or take a closer look at a specific piece. So I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I would love you to give it a thumbs up and maybe even share it with a friend. It supports me, it supports the channel, and it would truly mean the world. If you want to learn more about the 60s and 70s, the music, the fashion, the lifestyle, consider subscribing. I would love to have you around. I hope you have a beautiful day. Go out, enjoy the sunshine, take yourself some time to focus on you and your mental health today, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye everybody!